Hello everyone. So let's talk about 6 key steps in data analytics process. Data analytics is an iterative process and it's an important step in any data science project. You probably don't want it. However, it's common to spend the majority of your time understanding the data. Data analytics provide valuable inputs to organizations to identify industry trends, patterns, and uncover the relationship in the data. To get the actionable insight from the data, you should have a better understanding of how to handle it, process it, and analyze it. In this video, I'll talk about these 6 key steps in data analytics that will help you succeed to achieve the goal of getting actionable insights from the data. And they are understanding the context, assessing the available data, preparing the data, getting insight from the data, sharing the results, and addressing the feedback and improving it. Let's talk about the first one, the understanding the context. The first step in data analytics is to understand the context of the analytics. This is similar to saying understand the business problem and gather requirements. This is the step where you define the objective, purpose of the analysis, and set up research hypotheses or research questions. As a data analyst or data scientist, it is key to communicate with business stakeholders, understand what they are trying to solve or what they need help with. Your whole analytic process is driven by understanding the context, so be proactive to clearly identify the problems. For instance, you probably want to know if there is any trend in variable of interest. Find out if there is any correlation between the variable of interest. What are the factors affecting your response variable or the variable that you are interested on? Is there any error in the data? In addition to these research questions, when possible, you want to find out if there are any criteria or requirements on how you want to deliver the results. Do you need to send an email with an Excel attachment? Do you need to create a dashboard, or develop a model, or anything else? Understanding the context is early and an important step to shape your data analytics process. The next step in your data analytics process is to assess the available data, meaning understanding of the data sources, data types, tables, and databases. In support of step 1, understanding the context that I explained earlier, you want to identify if you have enough data or too much data. You want to know if you need to get external data or just use the internal data that you have. Again, talking to business would be beneficial to understand the data and how it will help to solve the problem. Some of the questions that you want to ask in this step are: who collected the data? How was the data collected? How are the tables related? Any common variable or variables across the tables? Any data table or variables that you are not sure about and you want to confirm with business or other stakeholders? How about the access to the data? Do you need to apply for special permission for that or any other data governance that you need to follow? In addition to that, you want to understand the assumption and limitation of the data as well. Now you have assessed the available data, you need to prepare the data for future analysis. And this is what we're going to talk about in step 3, which is preparing the data. Data cleaning and making it ready for further analytics is what you do in this data preparation step. It's an important moment for you as a data analyst or data scientist. The success of the final product depends on how you prepare the data. Your company has spent several years and resources to collect and store the data. Now, it's your responsibility as a data analyst or data scientist to make sure the data is accurate, complete, relevant to your analysis, and is ready for downstream use. I have identified several questions that you can ask when you are preparing your data, and they are related with, like, for example, missing values. Is there any data or data point missing? What is the missing percentage? What would be the reason for that? How do you handle it? Do you want to remove it, impute it, or keep it? So you have to decide these things as well. The other one is point I would like to talk about is the outliers. Are there any values outside the general pattern of the data? Should you keep it or remove it? Does it influence your result if you remove those points? Do you have any consistent approach to measure and tackle the outlier issue in the data? Do you see any errors in the data such as unwanted character, nonsensical values, for instance, negative years of experience or negative age, null values that don't make sense? So you have to take care of those as well as part of your data preparation. The other point is about the duplicates. Any duplication in the data, do you find it? Does that make sense or not? Are you supposed to remove the duplication or keep it? These are the things you want to focus while working with duplication in the data. The next is structuring of your data. Do you need to merge the data or stack it to solve the problem? Do you need to reshape the data format? Or do you have to take the sampling also? Like, should you sample the data for analytics? What sample strategy should you use? Is it random sampling, stratified sampling, or any others? Is your sample representative of your population? Is there sampling bias? All these are important questions to ask when you prepare the data. And this can be accomplished by observing the high level summary statistics, frequencies, and data visualization, and also sample versus population analysis. An important tip is that you should prepare a data waterfall where you can list all the data preparation steps and how your observations are changing when the data goes through each of the data preparation steps. Once you prepare the data now, you want to focus on detailed analysis and get insight from the data. And this is what we're going to talk in step 4, getting insight from the data. This is the step where you perform exploratory data analysis. This is an ongoing process and helps to identify trends and patterns in the data. Below are some questions that you can ask to help guide and get insight from the data. And they are: do you see any pattern in the data? Can you make sense of that? Do you see any relationship in the data? Does your data answer the research questions that you set up in step 1? Do you need any additional data to support your analysis or findings? To answer these questions, you can use summary statistics at overall level or at segment level. Look at the trend in a variable of interest. Use appropriate data visualization to understand the relation and trend in the data. And keep the business stakeholder in loop to get help on data insight if that's something available to you. Always look for trend distribution of the data closely to uncover the relationship in the data that may not be immediately obvious. In this step, you want to interpret the results, draw conclusions, and make recommendations based on your findings. The next step in your data analytics process is sharing the results. This may involve preparing presentations, creating reports, or summarizing in Excel sheets to communicate your findings with the stakeholders, or even writing articles and publishing a paper in scientific journal. Effective communication is key to delivering data science results successfully. The best solution might still be useless if you fail to communicate or tell your story properly. Knowing how to tell your stakeholders why your solution is better and how it provides business value is very important. Keep in mind that you may require different types of visualization, charts, or tables to effectively communicate the insight that you have gained. Also, it's very important to provide all the evidence or rationale you have gained, as your findings may be a significant part of the decision-making process. Additionally, it is important to highlight limitations and assumptions in the data or in your findings so that it helps to further improve or take feedback from the stakeholders. The next and the last step in this data analytics process is addressing the feedback and improving it. As I mentioned earlier, data analytics is an iterative process. Once you share your findings with the stakeholders, you probably get feedback or suggestions based on the discussion. It is crucial to address those and improve your process. This is the step where you can learn from your previous mistakes or improve your analysis or add more analysis in the process to support the findings. There you go. I just covered the 6 key steps of the data analytics process. And this process is applicable to any like data analyst, data scientist, business analyst, or data head. Data analytics is an iterative process and you need to involve business stakeholders to get business insight in each of these steps. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope now you know the core steps in data analytics. Happy learning.